And he says, I'm going to put the best possible part in you. He says, I'm going to even you back out as much as possible so you don't have to have a lift on your shoe. He says nobody should come out of an operation with a hip or knee replacement that far off. And he says that I had just been through hell with everything that had been going on in my life, not just a work comp injury, but loss of marriage, being homeless, being in the vet's home, being experimented on, so to say. So he did the hip replacement, and in the beginning, prior to my going in and seeing him, he had reviewed my case, talked my case over with the previous doctor, and he had called Minnesota Care, and they were not going to pay for the operation unless a doctor deemed it a medical emergency, which he informed them right there on the spot that it was a medical emergency. He had the forms all filled out. All I had to do was sign my signature. So that doctor that did the second hip replacement was the best doctor that I have ever seen, the most caring. So I had the hip replacement done. I had moved out of the vet's home. I moved in with a friend that I used to be a supervisor at this company, and I recovered from the second hip replacement, and I ended up moving into a group home. It was a house that had veterans in it, 6 veterans. I did not want to move back to the vet's home. And while I was in that group home, I tried looking for work, but I wasn't having very much luck because I had been out of work for a long period of time now, and to explain on an application, where have you been and what's been going on is hard to explain. I've been discriminated by age, by disability. I've been called names. I had a handicap license plate, and I'd get heckled when I was driving down the road. When I was married, my wife had a handicap sticker for the rearview mirror, but I went into the Department of Transportation and told them what was going on, and they gave me a handicap sticker to hang down from my visor and gave me a different license, a regular license plate, so I wasn't a target when I was driving down the road. So I haven't worked since I went into the veterans home, and that was no, I can't remember the exact date, but I was there for approximately 7 months. I am now living in senior housing through the county that I live in. You have to be 55 years or older with a very low income. I just qualified for Social Security disability. I had an attorney for that. There were 5 counts that went in my favor as far as receiving Social Security disability. I am living off of that, and when I was on the non-service disability pension fund, in trying to look for work, one company, and there were more than one, but one was really bad and asked a lot of illegal questions, and I filed a charge of discrimination by disability and asking illegal questions in the Department of Labor and Department of Human Rights. Found that I had been violated. I won a settlement of a total of $15,000. I paid, the attorney's fees were paid. Then a separate check was sent to me, but I had the taxes, state, federal, and FICA taxes taken out. I received approximately $6,500 after taxes and lawyers' expenses, and the VA non-service disability pension fund found out about it And they said that's added income, so now they want all that money back except for the attorney's fees. They even want they want about $9,000, and since I only got, say, $6,500 after taxes, that they're double taxing me. And I says, "What? You can't double tax me." And they said, "Yes, we can. It's called double dipping." And they also said that if we feel that we're not going to get enough money from you, we can dip into your Social Security account. In talking with the non-service disability pension fund, which is headquartered out of Fort Snelling here in Minnesota, I tried contacting them, and their basic response was I received a non-service I received a service-connected disability for hearing loss, which amounted to $123 a month. They are now taking that away from me. I requested a hearing, but they haven't granted that hearing, so they're taking the money without the hearing. And I've got the VFW working on that, but the VFW says they take their time, and it could be 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 months, just like investigations, they take so long. That's why this is dragged on so long. If the evidence had been investigated and produced the first time, it wouldn't have taken 20 years, and I would have had better doctors and 1 or 2 doctors instead of multiple doctors and multiple experiments and tests and so on and so forth. So the non-service disability pension fund is taking my hearing loss, which I was only living on about $1,500 a month. Now it's less than that because I'm not getting the hearing loss until I get a hearing to see if I can get that back or not, because my rights were violated. Federal rights were violated when I applied for work after the second hip replacement. Since now I'm getting Social Security disability, they start taking out for that, so that's more money lost. Then I'll have to pay for supplemental insurance, but Social Security hasn't gotten back to me to give me an identification card and explain about supplemental insurance. It's hard enough for a normal person to figure out insurance, but then when you're suffering from stress, depression, and anxiety, which is well documented for years, even to this day up at the VA Medical Center, it's even harder to comprehend everything. Another thing that I want to talk about is after I had my second hip replacement, a friend of mine called me up and said, "Wasn't your lawyer so-and-so?" And I said, "Yes, why?" And they said, "Watch the 5 o'clock news tonight, clock on Channel 11, and my attorney was being brought up the Lawyers Professional Responsibility Board." I called the news station, and I found out that it was the Lawyers Professional Responsibility. I called that state office, and I asked them if what I seen on TV was true, and they said yes, and why. And I said, well, the Responsibility Board didn't show much interest until I told them I have my lawyer on tape after I lost my case advising me to commit a fraudulent act and a second injury. And they asked me if I could come in right away with the tape recording, which I showed you earlier. They listened to the tape recording and brought more and more people into the room and reversed the tape, and they wanted the tape recording and wanted me as a star witness against that attorney for the state of Minnesota. I told them they couldn't have the tape. It was the only one. It was an original. They were calling recording studios. They had a stenographer come in and write down a recording studio, and the state had them make 5 or 6